Just relax your hands. Maybe put your feet on the floor. Just get in a comfortable position where you can really let the body go. And if you haven't already, please check and make sure your cell phone is on silent. And so now as we start to take a deep, deep breath in, when we let go, we just relax the shoulders. And we do that again. We just breathe deeply. And as we let go, again, we let go of the shoulders and the arms. And we begin to focus on our eyes and all the little muscles around the eyes. And we just let them go. And relax the scalp and the cheeks, mouth. And again, as we breathe deeply, we just let that relaxation go down through the neck. And once again into the arms. Just letting the body go. And we feel that relaxation going through the whole body down into the legs. And we just feel at peace. Breathing at our own pace and just letting the body go. And now we bring our attention to that inward peace. It can be the center of the forehead. Where we gaze into inner peace. And we begin to feel that peace that passes all understanding. And in that universal consciousness that we feel, that inner spirit that connects to all people, all animals, all plants, and the universe. How glorious that is, and how good we feel to be a part of the universal spirit. And as we are here, let us say thank you. Thank you, Spirit, for all the good in our lives. And we see that good, that light in every person, every animal, every plant. And this week, we go forward rejoicing, living in joy, knowing that we are one with all. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. Thank you. And now we come back gently into this time and space, taking another deep breath. And so it is.
Now I'm taking lots of deep breaths. Thank you, Cheryl. That was beautiful. Well, today is a very special day, and we want to welcome everyone here and let you know who we are. We are the Center for Spiritual Living in West Georgia in Douglasville. Yay, yay, and welcome. Thank you, everyone who's online as well, and everyone here. I want to tell you who we are again. We are radically inclusive and spiritually progressive. We're dedicated to teaching and practicing our powerful spirituality based on Ernest Holmes' inspiring and life-affirming philosophy called the Science of Mind. We focus on people being spiritually nourished, lifted up, and experience their connection with love, joy, and inner peace. Here you will not only find acceptance, but unbridled love and countless opportunities for spiritual growth. Welcome. Thank you all for being with us. Now, if you all would read with me in your bulletin and on the screen. Everyone, please stand. This is our vision and mission statement. CSL West Georgia is a joyful global community where everyone belongs. Through our unique spiritual teachings, we provide a safe environment to experience compassionate living. I believe there is one creative intelligence operating throughout the universe. I believe my purpose is to allow this divine mind to express in, as, and through me. And I know that this divine presence is a power for good, which responds to our conscious use to create a life filled with health, love, peace, and success in all things. I use it now, and I rejoice in it, and so it is. We have something special this morning for our reading. Marcia's coming away from the computer, yay! So this is a very, very special reading, you all. It's a lesson in history that we all need to hear. Marcia?
Good morning. Gotta raise up the microphone. All right. No, I got it. I'll just hold it. So I'm putting on my teacher hat. I am an elementary school teacher, been over 30 years, and I just wanted to take this opportunity for our reading to share with you some history about the song Lift Every Voice and Sing. So, it's nicknamed the Black National Anthem, but, it's got a really interesting background. So I just said this is going to be a reading for today. Lift Every Voice and Sing is a hymn with lyrics by James Weldon Johnson, who was born 1871 and died 1938, and then set to music by his brother, Rosamond Johnson. It was written from the context of an African Americans in the late 19th century. This is actually a hymn that is a prayer of thanksgiving as well as a prayer for faithfulness and freedom, with imagery that evokes the biblical exodus from slavery to the freedom of the Promised Land. James Weldon Johnson had sought to write a poem in commemoration of Abraham Lincoln's birthday. So actually it was first performed on February 12th in 1900. However, amid the ongoing civil rights movement, Johnson decided to write a poem which was themed around the struggles of African Americans following the Reconstruction era, including the passage of the Jim Crow laws of the South. This is around the time when Plessy versus Ferguson also was passed. And so there was just a lot of very negative turmoil. Lift Every Voice and Sing was first recited by a group of 500 students in 1900. And then his brother, J. Rosamond Johnson, would later set the poem to music. But the hymn's truest legacy is best expressed by James Weldon Johnson himself. Among the pages of a 1935 collection of his poems, Johnson recalls what happened after the hymn was first performed by a chorus of 500 school children in the hometown of Jacksonville, Florida. Actually, it didn't even have a name. It didn't have a name. It was just a poem that was supposed to be done for, the commemoration of Lincoln. And it began to pick up the name Lift Every Voice and Sing because those are the first words of the song, because it didn't have a name. In fact, they figured that was it, that was over and done with. So shortly afterwards, my brother and I moved away from Jacksonville to New York, and the song just basically passed out of our minds, he wrote. But the school children of Jacksonville kept singing it. They went off to other schools. They grew up, they sang it, they became teachers, they taught it and kept singing it to other children. And within 20 years, it was being sung throughout the South in some other parts of the country. So it was the first thing to go viral, right? Within 20 years, it was being, the lines of this song, repay me in an elation. This is still Johnson speaking, almost of exquisite anguish whenever I hear them sung by the Negro children. So this phenomena Johnson describes is the central motivation of the countless music traditions unfolding back through human history. Someone heard it, they were moved by it, and they kept on singing it, and they passed it along, which is what a lot of our history has done. It's just been passed on and on. So in 1919, the National Association for Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, dubbed Lift Every Voice and Sing as the Negro National Anthem for its power in voicing a cry of liberation and affirmation for African American people. James Weldon Johnson would be appointed to serve as NAACP's first executive secretary that following year. And now it's basically lovingly referred to as the Black National Anthem. But just because it has that history doesn't mean that those words don't resonate with other people, because it talks of, struggle and pride and overcoming, and hopefully everyone could get behind that. So this is what our community song is going to be today. We're gonna play the music. The words are gonna be on the screen. If you are so moved, since it's a community song, you may be free to stand, you may be free to sit. It's freedom around here. But we're gonna sing together, Lift Every Voice and Sing. And we're just doing the first verse. There's other verses that go behind it, but we're just gonna start with the first section of the song. All right. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the darkness has told. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is won. Is won. Thank you.
Thank you, Marsha. Thank you. That was fabulous. Thank you. John, you can come on up and quit hiding now. We all see you down there anyway. John and Kathy Stringer are here with us this morning, and I am so honored to introduce them. So thankful, so very thankful to have them. I met John and Kathy at a conscious songwriting retreat along with Connie. That's how I met Connie. And we all have been friends ever since. And we've all been writing songs ever since. Let's see, let me find my intro. Here it is. I know a lot of you have heard John before, but if you haven't, you're in for a treat. John is a life teacher, speaker, Billboard charting singer, songwriter, healer, and author with a passion for music, community, expansion, and limitless love and light. He currently serves as founder of Polyplat Records, partner at Healing Arts Management, and ConsciousSongwritingRetreat.com. He is the host of the Alignment podcast and the co-host of the Awaken Pillow Talk podcast with his wife, Kathy Stringer. John has written and recorded several singles and albums over the years, including a co-written Billboard Top 10 charting song with his former rock band, State of Man. He has spoken and performed for events and venues throughout the world, and he shares this message of alignment through songs featured on his debut solo album, Limitless Love and Light, and featuring the Posy Award-nominated songs, You Are Welcome Here and That's Love, on his follow-up album, Moment to Moment, as well as thought-inspired teachings, some of which can be found in his book, The Abundance Vibration and Guide to Alignment. All of these materials are over here on the table for you. For upcoming events, books, audio recordings, videos, online courses, and guidance sessions, which are fabulous. He is a wonderful channel and guider. Please visit johnstringer.com. And without further ado, here's my spiritual brother, John Stringer.
Thank you so much. This is actually a song that was in the public domain. I grew up singing it as a spiritual and rewrote it to represent love. There have been times in my life I felt so alone. I had no one to call my own. But then you came my way just to
so bad. You often feel downhearted and blue. But when you need me the most, you know I'll always come through. I'll do everything that I say that I'll do. So when your life is bound in chains, I'll set you free. I am making way for you and me. When your life is bound in chains, you know I'll set you free. I am making a way for you and me. Yeah, yeah. See, sometimes we all get lonely, and sometimes we all need a hand. But all you need to do is call me. You know I'll come running again. When your life is bound in chains, I'll set you free. I am making a way for you and me. So when your life is bound in chains, I'll set you free. I am making a way for you and me. Yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah. So when your life is bound in chains, well, I'll set you free. I am making a way for you and me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Black history and oneness. Only love can do that. As I was asking what to share after going through wonderful classes at Morehouse College, returning to school to finish a degree I'd left almost 30 years behind, returned as a senior last fall, and was reminded why I ever wanted to go to Morehouse in the first place. For those unfamiliar, Morehouse College in Atlanta was the alma mater of one of our leaders in the civil rights movement, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., class of 1948, yes. So, returning, I was reminded of the mission of Morehouse, to develop men of disciplined minds who are servants, men of consequence. When I look at Martin Luther King Jr., I remember many things, but I remember in 7th grade, after getting ceremoniously removed, is my recollection, my mother's recollection is, I was given a new opportunity. I think I'm leaning more towards her direction now. Given a new opportunity to leave a private school and go to a public school in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I got a chance to learn civil rights history for the first time. Prior to that, I'd grown up in that private school all the way to 7th grade, leaving 8th grade and 9th grade. I was impacted by Martin Luther King Jr.'s life, his contribution, his dedication, his speeches, and most importantly, his message. I realized the sacrifices that were made for people of a different skin color to be able to get a great education, to be able to vote, so many different things. And what it helped me do is decide not to take it for granted. At that time, I realized I had had a beautiful private education that many people had sacrificed a lot, even blood, to allow me to go to. And I didn't want to trample that blood. So turned things around. Long story short, ended up getting a scholarship back to the very school that I had left. And it was because of Martin Luther King Jr. and all of those who joined with them. See, Martin Luther King Jr. was the face. One of his famous speeches, he talked about listening to the drum major, right? He was marching to that beat that he could hear that transcended man's collective wisdom of the time. He was asking a simple question. It's a question many of us may be familiar with. What is mine to do? He was asking that drum major, some people point to in the sky. We talk about the drum major within. What is mine to do? So when I asked, going back to Morehouse, being re-inspired by the mission and realizing that the history I was learning, I wasn't so sure a lot of people knew, because I didn't know it even when I went back to in 7th grade. I asked, what is mine to do about this? I was sparked once again. Having lived a life of spiritual practice and hearing these principles and then looking back to history, there was this challenge. What is the value of looking at history where there are things that don't feel good and exposing those things and bringing them to light? What is the value of that? As the mission said, we want to feel joy, right? Well, some of these things did not bring me joy, let me just say. Many of these things brought tears and realizations, but also understanding. I'll read this to you. The goal is to educate others on a history that is little known and explain why economic and political power have been areas of focus in the move toward human equality. Yes. This is the message that needs to be explained to many. How this coincides with spiritual principle is that the goal of love is that all are provided for. All are given opportunity and all are valued. The challenge is when past intentions, structures, and systems have been created to marginalize, set aside as less than, and oppress, healing must take place. Recognize or recognition must begin to shift the policies, systems, and actions to meet the needs of the human family. It's the same worldwide. The policies that don't reflect meeting the needs are the challenge before us. Yes, all is well and always is, yes. And education, awareness is key in order to meet our needs. Question. Are there still agendas to oppress? To continue the ignorance, to ensure that change does not occur? Yes, and that's okay. Historically, that has been the issue. However, in this dimension, love will prevail. Love will succeed when we take it upon ourselves to ask, what is ours to do? What is mine to do? Mine is to educate, to share, to tell the story so that it can be seen differently. You know how the principle or the teaching that if you have unconscious behaviors and triggers in your life, there may be something from your past, some trauma, some conditioning that's causing it. And then when you bring awareness to that, you can actually release it. It's the same in collective consciousness. When we bring our awareness to what has transpired, we can shift the collective together, bring that wonderful salve of healing. So let's take a little journey. In his 60-minute interview on September 27th, 1966, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. answers the question, why do Negroes in America find it so difficult to pull themselves up when other oppressed groups of his time, like Jews, Irish, and Italians, were able to pull themselves up? He gave the following two reasons. I'm going to try not to imitate him. It's hard, but no other racial group has been a slave on American soil. It's nice to say other people were down and they got up. They were not slaves on American soil. The other thing is the Negro has had high visibility, and because of the prejudice existing in this country, his color has been against him. It's been against him, and they've used this to keep him from moving up. In the final analysis, when you say to a man that you are in this position because of your race or because of your color, you say to that man that he can never get out of it. Other racial groups have been able to maybe change their accent or change names, but the Negro can't. What he was pointing out was Irish, German, Italian, Jew could come to this country, change their names, which was popular, change their accents, and assimilate, and look just like those who were oppressing, just like those who were calling them other. But if you had dark skin color, you couldn't do that. You could try. It just didn't work. High visibility. What that created was not only the separation or appearance of separation through oppression, through prejudice. It created actual obstacles that we have seen play out. He also talked about that one defining difference, slavery. Some call it chattel slavery. That one defining difference, that history has an interesting mark on our collective psychology. And that is where I believe the opportunity lies. Yes, worldwide, we've seen these wonderful plays of separation in different ways. This is just a microcosm. This is just part of our human history, part of our family. But why look at that part? It's almost like if you grow up in a family, proximity. It's easier to love those closest to you, right? That you call family. Even though we're all one, when it comes to feeding and taking care of your family, where do you start? At home. So we're going to start at home. In the U.S., just to take a look at the microcosm that reflects the whole. So the history, as many of you may know, 1619, It's where they track slavery beginning in the U.S. And then through that whole period, all the way up until 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation declaring the southern states who were still rebelling, setting those slaves free, right? Not all slaves, just the slaves that in the southern states that were still rebelling because it was during the Civil War. 2 years later is when the 13th Amendment was passed, January 1865. Finally, outlawing slavery in the United States. I remember learning last fall in one of my classes, the newly freed slaves felt like, oh wow, we got opportunity. There was one man quoted as saying, we felt like we could use our skills, our hands as artisans, as farmers, and finally cultivate land, freedom, and build our own lives. If you've heard of the 40 acres and a mule, which is really an order for 40 acres, but they gave some army mules to a couple of families, right? So it started being called 40 acres and a mule. That actually happened. It was declared, ordered. Families began to receive, newly freed slaves received this land. They were going to give it throughout the East Coast, redistribute a lot of the southern land from the Confederates. And wouldn't you know, Lincoln gets assassinated, right? So, months after, actually. So, Andrew Johnson comes in, the vice president at the time, and just repeals everything. What ends up happening? That land gets taken back. And all of those, it was over 3.9 million approximately slaves that had been set free in the South who thought they had an opportunity, and the government was telling them, we got you. You need land, self-sufficiency, etc. We got you. And all of a sudden it flip-flops. Nope, you can't have it. We're not going to unfairly create a situation where you're favored more than the white people. Give them their land back. And at the same time, mind you, they were giving away land in the West and allowing people to migrate there, except for the blacks for the most part. So this interesting dichotomy of separation is what you begin to see, and it keeps repeating. The Freedmen's Bureau, you see it there. Freedmen's Bureau sets up this beautiful bank, Freedmen's Bank. Freedmen's Bank, they were on a mission to help these newly freed slaves understand building wealth. Interestingly enough, they created Freedmen's Bank to be a savings bank, but not an investment bank. What's important about that? Others were able to go to a bank, walk in and say, hey, I need to buy some land to build a farm, or I need to build a house, or what have you, and could get credit, loans. Freedmen's Bank, no loans, no credit. So you couldn't build wealth that way. What you could do is save, put your investment in, and keep saving. And they taught them savings, a glorified savings bank. Imagine going to the bank and saying, I want to buy a $250,000 house. Great, start saving here. Once you get to $250,000, buy your house. That's pretty much what was going on. Now, what's amazing is this bank was highly successful. In that time, they end up raising $75 million. That's like 3-point-something billion now from slaves. That's it. The average, I think it's estimated the average deposit was $50. You're talking about people that came from nothing, just got set free. Somehow they scraped up $50 to deposit all around the South. Next thing you know, $75 million is sitting in the coffers. Amazing, right? And introduce corruption. Disappointment. These slaves had been promised, hey, this is your way to self-reliance and wealth. All of a sudden, the owners decided to invest it in speculative railroad investments that went bust and many other things. Long story short, it got fleeced and 65 million disappeared. And all of these slaves were like, what the heck? And the government did not persecute anyone. So, once again, you've got newly freed slaves. All right, we're going to take care of you. We're going to give you something to help you. Nope, take it back. By this time, what do you think the psychology was for this part of our population when it came to government? Can't trust them, right? They already were in a position where they had gone through over 150 plus years of inferiority, being conditioned. You are less than, you are cattle. Suddenly getting freed, okay, we're going to take care of you. Here's some land. You have an opportunity. No. Okay, we're going to teach you how to build wealth, how to do like the rest of the no. Taken back. I can't even imagine the disappointment. But what that did was wiped out the beginnings of a lot of wealth. Why can't the Negro in America pull himself up like others? $75 million was a lot of pulling up. Especially in that time. So let's fast forward. It's not all terrible. It doesn't feel good to look at, but it's not all terrible because there was resilience. Even in the midst of these trying times, even in the midst of all sorts of violence, legal oppression, there were bright spots. There's always bright spots. Even in a pandemic, there's always light. So what's the bright spots? Number one, there were many who sought ways to thrive in this adversity, even in the disappointment. It created an economic detour. What's an economic detour? Well, that's when you cannot participate in the main economy. Suddenly you begin to see black insurance companies. Actually, it started with the churches. Started with mutual beneficial aid societies where they would collect and pool money, kind of like the susus of back in the day in different cultures, the gifting circles. They would create these wonderful ways to create their own economy. And they would support one another. They would take care of primarily funeral expenses. Started off that way. But then it developed. Suddenly in Durham, North Carolina, you get North Carolina Mutual. Developed from mutual aid societies to insurance companies to take care of those who couldn't get insured any other way. Next thing you know, North Carolina Mutual goes national. Millions of dollars. In fact, it didn't end until recently during the pandemic. It lasted for ages, employed many luminaries I got to learn about. C.C. Spalding wrote books about management. They had offices everywhere. This is in a time where you're still getting lynched. These guys found a way. That's resilience. The human spirit cannot be stopped. The light cannot be snuffed out. Now, granted, there was a lot of atrocities, a lot of sadness, but I believe the darkness, the darker it gets, the brighter the light shines. Love and light is what we are at our essence. Now, Mind you, it's easy to think, and that's just a drop in the bucket history-wise. I could keep going, but I'm going to wrap this up. It's easy to think with all the things we've seen in our history, as you begin to uncover them and unfold them, it's easy to think, wow, those people or these people, or see them as other. What I'm inviting you to is spiritual principle, to recognize you are not part of one side or the other. You are part of it all. Their consciousness, whichever side you think it is your consciousness. That's oneness. All consciousness is our consciousness. So many of us with this skin color identify with the story of those who were oppressed. However, the oppressor is our consciousness. Many of those who don't have this skin color identify with those who are oppressed. However, all consciousness is your consciousness. That's oneness. That's principle. Why is that important? Because it helps heal the blame game. Helps let go of the victimization. Helps us transform into victors, to see these perfect ingredients as opportunities for love and self-forgiveness. To recognize in ourselves when we look at the other and marginalize. When we look at the other and hold them as less than or even greater than, we begin to look at our own consciousness, how it shows up, and choose differently. What is mine to do? That's the question. What is mine to do? Just as we must undo programming and release misperceptions that cause suffering in our lives, we can release the misperceptions of collective consciousness by calling on the intercessor, the corrector, Ruach, the Holy Spirit, to lead us and correct our thinking. Asking what is yours to do is the most important thing you can ask when it comes to these opportunities of love, opportunities for collective healing. So, as I mentioned, this is just a small part. We're still feeling the separation in consciousness, many of us, that created such stories, such actions, such division. We're still seeing the tentacles and feeling its impact in ways that are not necessarily recognized. From the gap in wealth to the challenges in healthcare and education, property values, etc. It's still something in need of addressing. How can you do it? I believe it starts with spiritual principle. We are all one. Black history is your history. White history, our history. American history, indigenous history, German, Irish, French, Italian, world history. It's your history. All consciousness is our consciousness. The stories, the illusions, the victories and tragedies. What we must do is turn our attention to these stories in our own backyard and then do the cleaning work. We get to choose the quality of the experience we create by the quality of thought we choose. In this case, we will create reconciliation and forgiveness through our thoughts. So what's the relevance? The relevance is that we have an opportunity to address this and more in ways that bring healing into the conversation. In other words, that shift our perspectives to be in alignment with that which Source is seeking for us to realize as love. For those who wish to join in healing a wound that takes the collective love of humanity to heal, not that there's a problem to fix. There is no problem to fix, but there is an opportunity to give love to part of our consciousness that holds on to the trauma. We are here to release that trauma through the corrective power of the I am, the Holy Spirit, love itself. Only love can do that. So I invite you to ask that question. What's mine to do? Where is separation in my life showing up? How am I marginalizing? Where am I missing the opportunity for love? It may be self. It may be correcting the misperception that you are somehow inferior, somehow unable. It may be recognizing that you have forgotten who you are to be as an extension of the great I am itself. It may be cultivating that ability to hear your drum major, to share your gift with the world, so that another little John Stringer can be inspired by your example. What is mine to do? I also invite those who would like to embark on this healing journey with my wife and I to join us for a 3-week transformation experience, to do exactly that. The transformation experience is called Aligned Relationships. Only love can do that. It's a love donation base. We got a minimum to cover costs, but what we'll be doing is spending 3 weeks, one, addressing Black history, indigenous history, and then general superiority. That covers gender, that covers so many things. So we're going to bring that collective healing to shift our collective consciousness together, and there is power and resonance when we come together. So if you're interested, see Kathy. She can sign you up. It's, like I said, love donation with a minimum donation. Last thing, energy flows where attention goes. We'll focus our attention on bringing unity, love, and oneness to areas that are calling those who are willing to join together and apply a healing solve, a shifting consciousness to bring more love and light into this conversation. Namaste. Teach you a song if you don't know it. The chorus, I would love your help. It goes like this. I must let you know that we matter. That's it. If you can sing that with me, just the we matter. Tell these people all right here, we matter. I must let you know that that's it. It's a history of pain. Whoa, separation, it's insane. No. Have you bought into the lies? Black, white, whatever, never a reason to despise. Oh, you see, we're all part of the human race, one humanity, a truth we must face. If we can't learn to love each other, then we can't learn to forgive one another. Time to move on to a new way of being. The only solution is a new way of singing, yeah. I must let you know that we matter. There you go. Till these people love that we matter. Gotta face the truth somehow. We matter. Change what we do right now. We matter. See with the eyes of love. See with your heart. Let go of separation. We can all make a new start if we all come together. If we make love the norm,
suffer in poverty. How can we let our brothers and sisters die from greed? And how can we let our mothers and fathers go uncared for? And how can we let our children live in a world of war? No, no, no. I must let you know that we matter. Tell these people all that we matter. Gotta face the truth somehow. We matter. Change what we do right now. We matter. Time to embrace a new way of being. One race, one world, one humanity. Let's learn to love ourselves, our creator and every being. Cause we all matter in this one love for you and me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I must let you know, come on. We matter. Tell these people all that we matter. Gotta face the truth somehow. We matter. Change what we do right now. We matter. Peace starts with you. We matter. Hatred will never do. We matter. All of God's creation. We matter. We can change the situation. We matter. I must let you know that we matter.
Y'all sound so good. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I think we should go home right now.
That's a hard act to follow, isn't it?
Whoa. Oh. John Stringer. Whoa. Well, now we're coming to, okay. Now we're coming to our conscious giving part of our service. And one of the things I'd like to mention is that we do have a love offering over on the table. So we want to thank John and Kathy both for being here today. Again, thank you. It was glorious. Our conscious giving is now time for us to, I lost my train of thought. I was thinking about you, John.
Try to get it together, Sam.
I have to get it together. Boy, it's now time for our conscious giving part of the service. Money, as you know, is a spiritual activity. As Dr. Holmes says in Science of Mind, it is only when we allow the divine current to flow through us, in and out, we really express life. The law of giving and receiving is definite. There are many ways you may choose to participate with us at this time. The traditional way is to place cash or a check into the envelope. If you need an envelope, you can ask. You should have one. If you would prefer to make an electronic donation, there are two ways that you can participate. One way is to donate with the information that's found on the back page of your bulletin. This information is also being placed in the chat window for our online viewers. The second way is to donate through your online Breeze account. If you all don't have a Breeze account, please see Ronnie at the end of the service, and she'll be happy to get you set up and teach you how to do it. Whichever way you participate, we invite you to join us in the following moment as one consciousness for prosperity as the collection plate is circulating. If you have donated electronically, please join us in this physical moment by placing the online giving card in the plate as it circulates. Thank you for your ongoing generous support of our community. Your contributions indeed bless and benefit ever-increasing numbers of people with love and light. And we are grateful for your conscious participation and support. And let us read together the conscious giving affirmation. Freely and joyfully, I give with a feeling of abundance, knowing that my gift blesses others as well as myself.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. Let's sing it again. You guys sound good. I'm so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so so blessed. I am so blessed. So grateful. I am so blessed. And we were certainly blessed this morning.
And together we say, I am grateful for the divine givingness circulating abundantly through my life, our community, and our world. And we have announcements, of course. I always have something to say, but one of the first things that I want to say is again another thank you to John and Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And Kathy, you weren't up here for his speech, but we want to thank you as well. And Talia, would you step forward? These are a thank you for Kathy. Thank you so much. Announcements for March. Nelta has a wonderful group therapy session she's going to do at the end of the month. And we have information on that. So please see her for that, and we'll fill you all in. We have the first 3 weeks of March with Merle, which we all know Merle, and he's going to finish up his 4-part series that he started with us last month. We are also going to have a town hall and a potluck in March, so we'll get you all caught up on all of that as well. Are you all ready? Okay. Alrighty, right. What we'd like to do is go ahead and do our closing affirmation, and then at the end, we're going to do our community song. So at the end, everybody, please stand and we'll hold hands and enjoy each other and our voices. All right?
All right,
Thank you
Sandy.
so much.
Thank you.
Our closing affirmation, if you all would read with me. We go forth today knowing that we are God's blessing in the world. Only good goes from us. Only good comes to us. And so it is.
Let there sun